Hey guys, and welcome to a battle of witted commanders, as its current year representing extreme meme team is taking charge of the Empire up against Hamster Berserker, and that is a terrifying sight. A hamster, which is indeed a Viking Berserker, bringing the Bretonnian forces. Should be a good fun showdown all round. In this matchup, I found often in the past, Empire really overcompensate with the amount of cavalry they bring, because of course Bretonnia are known for their cavalry play, and therefore win the cavalry engagement and lose the infantry. It's a really backwards matchup, and it is a bit of a kind of human-on-human action, the best kind. So in the front line for the Empire, we do have spearmen dotted all the way along. These guys are going to be shielded as well, here to simply hold the line. They're cheap, they're cheerful, they're fighting for Sigma, and all around jolly good fellows. In the central pocket, it looks like we do have 3 range units. We have some cheap archers as well as some huntsmen. Huntsmen very good here with that anti-large and stalk, and a basic unit of handgunners. Interesting to not see the silver bullets here as well, who I think are pretty dominant, but at the same time, getting a little bit more cheap, getting a little bit more cheerful. We have 1 unit of Demograph Knights of Halberds on the right-hand flank, and on the left-hand side we have the Royal Altdorf Griffites and another unit of Demigraphs. I actually think the Lancers all round are probably slightly better because they do trade pretty effectively up against cavalry as well as against infantry, but the Halberds do have a nice niche matchup in some battles, and this one could certainly favour them nicely as we've got a lot of large beasties on the Bretonnian side of the field. We have a Celestial Wizard as well, coming in with Curse of the Midnight Wind, as well as Wind Blast and Harmonic Convergence, a good set of spells, as well as the rather impressive and overlooked Rolling Skies, learning the melee defense and speed of flying units. And up against the Bretonnians, you can certainly expect them to bring a bit of an air force. As for the Empire, we have gone for the more Walmart-style lord, I should say, for a better wording of it. Boris Todbringer, the wannabe Karl Franz. He wants to be Empire so bad, but unfortunately, he is not. But still comes with Deadly Onslaught as well as Foe Seeker. Midland Runefang does give him regeneration, which is something that Franz doesn't have, which is really powerful, as well as the White Cloak of Ulrich and the Crush the Weak, all that good stuff. Now, for the Bretonnian forces up in the skies, they've also brought their kind of cheaper version of the true ruler of their faction with ALBERIC, and ALBERIC does bring in that beautiful trident. He actually has a really cool model all round, flying on top of this majestic beastie here, and he's rolling dirty with some Royal Hippogriff Knights, real bad to the bone stuff. We have the Wrath of Manon as well, which is a nice little wind attack he comes with. Heroic Killing Blow, Foe Seeker, as well as the Braid there, which gives a nice bonus versus large and the troops nearby. These are all Hippogriff Knights are going to be hitting very hard. Apart from that, we have a ton of peasants, just filthy, unwashed peasants in the front line, just here to die and soak up enemy firepower, as well as men-at-arms in a secondary battle formation. A couple of units of mounted yeoman archers, a unit you don't get to see terribly often, but a very useful, good utility tool all round. We have Grail Guardians and the Companions, so very expensive centerpieces with the flying units and the cavalry. So of course he has brought Dams of Life, Regrowth, Earthblood, Scroll of Shielding, all the good standard stuff. And it's really going to come down, do these Demigraphs fare well up against the Bretonnian cavalry? Only time will tell. Now, one big advantage the Empire, of course, do have is range. The Huntsman handgunners will do devastating damage to cavalry if left unchecked. These mounted yeomen certainly have to do some nice harass, trying to flank around, get behind the enemy formation, and really annoy them. The air game, however, is going to go Bretonnian's way. Boris is a mighty combatant, a warrior sent by Sigma himself to deliver justice. But so is ALBERIC, as well as the Royal Hippogriff Knights. Not going to have a good day up against them, and it looks like the handgunners are getting a little bit too close for comfort here, pushing ahead of their own force to try and get in range of the Royal Hippogriff Knights. They're going to be able to loose a volley before having to fall back, doing some nice damage straight off the rip. Archers as well, pushing through his own lines, but realising the mistake is indeed going to start to pull them back. In the front line, peasant mobs, of course, get slaughtered. That is their job and their life goal. Unfortunately, these archers, a little bit of mismicro, are going to be charging headlong into the men-at-arms. Perhaps the fire of the battle has kind of got into their bellies a little bit too much, and they've wanted to engage heroically in combat. The Demograph Knights are going to be holding down this flank. They could get overwhelmed, though. The Companions looking for a charge in the glorious lance formation, looking to punch in to this Demograph Knight unit, and they get the charge. Going to do some really nice damage, and they're supported by mounted yeomen and hopefully healing. However, the Huntsmen have turned to engage, and they could certainly turn this engagement on its head. Over on the left-hand side, the mighty Boris has landed, trying to beat the crap out of ALBERIC with the support of the Royal Altdorf Griffites, and this is brilliant for Empire. Bring the air game down to the ground where the Demigraphs really can come into effect. Royal Pegasus Knights getting hit by a massive Curse of Midnight Wind, have had Scroll of Shielding and a Regrowth pop on them to try and keep them alive and healthy, but now they've had to abandon ALBERIC, who's really struggling down here in the centre fight as the two lords beat the crap out of each other. Looks like Boris actually turns his back on ALBERIC. You're not worth my time. However, in the distance here, one unit of Demigraphs has been butchered by the Companions, who are now well among the pigeons, hunting down huntsmen, slaughtering them with very much ease, basically. Handguns, though, odd into Overwatch fire, and they've certainly paid for it. The companions break into this back line. I think the mounted yeomen need to get really aggressive, start pulling them into combat, shuttle down handgunners, forcing them back. Looks like that's just what some of the men-at-arms troops are doing. ALBERIC has managed to get back up into the skies. Boris is a little bit worse for wear, but not too much. Looks like ALBERIC may be considering the charge, as the Royal Adolf Griffites are causing all kinds of problems for the Royal Hippogriff Knights, however, every time they do indeed land. ALBERIC gets a lovely charge, thundering down on Boris, screaming all manner of Frenchy insults. However, the Royal Adolf Griffites have managed to plug him in from the rear, surrounded by spearmen as well. And ALBERIC, you may be the better duelist here, but you are the worst commander. Find yourself isolated. Hippogriff Knights do need to dart down in an attempt to save him. He's going to be coming in with his glorious little attack here, the Wrath. And it's going to come in and do, you know, a tiny wee bit of damage. Not too much, but it looks very cool, and that's the most important thing. Archers are slowly peppering their way through the companions, who have dealt nice damage to the handguns. But once again, these yeoman archers need to get aggressive, swoop round into combat. Your cavalry, you can trample those infantry under hoof and do some really nice damage. But instead, it looks like the companions have been dealt with at the moment. However, it's still a messy fight. Damsel of Life is just about alive. She has started to break, although ALBERIC coming in to save the damsel in distress. Doing some massive hits onto Boris. Some really nice attack animations. Royal Hippogriff Knights desperately trying to fall back and get back into the skies. Looks like one of the majestic beasts does slumberously make it into the air, although the Royal Adolf Griffites are an absolute pain in the butt. Both generals are solo. In fact, both generals break at the same time. However, there is 2 Royal Hippogriff Knights left. If they can rally, they could have chased off Boris, but instead they break and run for their lives. Huntsmen have felled many a similar beast in the past. ALBERIC is going to be getting a fat regrowth cast on him, which is huge news for the Bretonnian forces. We'll certainly be able to drag them back into the battle with that, because of course Boris does regenerate, but it is rather slow. Damsel very bravely charges into the huntsman. However, the mighty Boris now will swoop down. 1 or 2 fat claws will absolutely terrify her and just destroy her. Although the Royal Pegasus Knights, who I somehow have not seen this entire battle, have come down in and are attacking Boris. And it looks like they're actually going to be able to slay him. What an epic entrance from the Pegasus Knights. I have no idea where they came from. They do have vanguards. They're probably hidden around the map somewhere, doing some lovely damage before getting butchered and forced off. But now, all of a sudden, ALBERIC, if he can get another big fat heal off, he's certainly in a decent position. It looks like the yeomen are finally finding their courage and starting to dart into the back line to shut down the archers and handgunners. ALBERIC is also trying the same feat, but he's coming in from the front, a frontal charge. We take them head on, he screams, and then gets absolutely peppered by bullets, which isn't a too good job for him. It looks like with that, the Bretonnian forces are indeed going to break and shatter. Quite an abrupt end there. We had a lot of Bretonnian forces who were about to pressurise the back line, apply a lot of pressure to it and do some decent damage, but unfortunately for him, ALBERIC was defeated. Really fun game though, very well played to its current year, and Hamster Berserker, love the name Hamster Berserker, that is an absolutely badass name for sure, and its current year is indeed a YouTuber here on, YouTube I was about to say, but of course, but he's a content creator here on YouTube. He does do Total War Warhammer stuff, so maybe he's cast this game as well. You can always hop over there and have a little look from his point of view, and just check him out, he's a cool dude. I actually played up against him recently as well in the Warhammer World Championships, and we were pretty evenly matched. There were some really good fun games all round. But anyway, enough of that. So, all round, good game. It looks like Boris did unfortunately got slain by the might of Bretonnia, but he does indeed win the day. I think a similar thing happens, or he doesn't die, but in Warhammer 40k of Lehman Russ up against someone where he loses the duel but wins the battle because his tactician kind of mind is tinkering and working, and that's certainly happened with its current year. So if you guys did enjoy the video, before we do break down all those glorious damage dealt and damage value stats, feel free to give the video a big old thumbs up and subscribe for more Total War Warhammer action. We do drop new videos every single day, and it really helps out the channel as well. If you want to join the Discord or get involved with my Patreon, there are links down below in the description. On the Discord, of course, you can get involved in tournaments, send me replays, see a load of pictures of ducks, and just chill out of a really cool community. We have like quite a few hundred people in there now as well, and always happy to welcome some more. But enough of that, on to the glorious damage stats. So the Royal Adolf Griffites were pretty much an MVP, I think, for the forces of the Empire. They were always in the thick of it, dealing huge damage to ALBERIC, and those Royal Griffites, not Royal Griffites, the Royal Hippogriff Knights, there we go, so many knights on the field today. Every time they did land, they punished them for doing such heresy. 2,667 damage value, 10k damage dealt, 59 kills, very good work. Another unit got absolutely slaughtered. Of course, its current year's micro was focused elsewhere on the battle, and the companions just put them to the sword rather ferociously. Companions are some of the best cavalry in the game, so that's understandable. The other unit, though, fared much better as well, 1.4k damage value, and still a decent amount of health in the endgame, plenty left to give. The Toons of Huntsman, 1.7k damage value on this one, 700 on the other one, performed really well. As I said before, very talented in this matchup. Good at pulling down all the enemy knights, as well as doing good damage to some of the larger creatures Bretonnia can bring to the field. Handgunners, nearly 2k damage of value, consistently staying on line and firing, and I think that was due to a little bit of a lack of aggression from the Bretonnian player. I think could have shut down the back line a tiny wee bit better. Archers as well, didn't perform so good, these ones. They did get a little eager at the start of the battle, and they felt the Berserker Rage fall upon them and charged into hand-to-hand combat. Spearmen simply here to hold the line and die, and they held the line and didn't really die, so extra points for them. This unit in particular, getting nearly 1,000 damage value, was obviously helping out slaughter ALBERIC, surround him and poke him down. Celestial Wizard, good debuffs, of course, not looking for that damage value there. And in the mighty Boris, Toddbringer, pretty cheap for what he brings to the table. The regeneration is really nice and gives him quite a lot of utility. So damage dealt 5k, damage value 1.8k. Very impressive stuff, despite the fact he only got 10 kills. Now, Breck performed a bit better, 16 whole kills and 2,480 damage value, 5,228 damage dealt. However, he did have to rely on his damsel here to heal him up and keep him in action. And he kind of suicide charged in at the end a little bit too quickly. He might have been able to loop up and around the gunners before engaging in the back line, but it's so much easier to say from like hindsight, and he was running out of troops at the time, so perhaps that wasn't actually an option. The peasants, again, here to die, and they did it. The men-at-arms, a similar situation, managed to just slowly claw their way through some of the spearmen with some okay kills across the board. The companions were used really well, 1.8k damage value, nearly 9.5 damage dealt, 9,500, 82 kills, slaughtering one unit of Demigos, but I think at that point, they needed these mounted yeomen just to get in there, help shut down the back line, because they got on top of the huntsman, which is great, it's fantastic, but not when you're being shot by the handgunners. So then if you have the mounted yeomen overlapping and hammering down the handgunners, you don't even have to kill them, you just have to distract them, stop them shooting, and then the companions could have just waltzed their way through the entirety of the back line, and there wouldn't have been too much that could have stopped the forces of Bretonnia. The unit Grail Guardians as well, unfortunately, fared pretty poorly. The Royal Pegasus Knights, who I just completely missed for the opening part of the battle, still managed to get 1,000 damage value, and all of that was involved in their final thunderous charge onto Boris to bring his head back to the realms of Bretonnia. Royal Hippogriff Knights have improved a lot since, back in the day when they were first introduced. They were quite janky up in the air and landing, and their attack animations didn't really work, but now they are far, far better. But again, very expensive, and you have to pour so much resources into them, and because ALBERIC took a ton of damage, the damsel was a little bit distracted, healing him up, and these bad boys only managed to get 824 damage value, which isn't terrible, but for such an expensive unit, of course, isn't fantastic. So the one true rulers of mankind have revealed themselves, the forces of the Empire. What did you guys think? Feel free to leave comments down below. I do enjoy reading them all. And until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.